she discovered an incredible love after jumping into a stranger's arms. He was a millionaire. Emily Lawson, a hardworking single mother in her early 30s, was living the life of many in her close-knit Wisconsin town. Every day, she juggled 2 jobs just to keep the lights on for her bright-eyed 6-year-old son, Timmy, who filled their modest home with unending laughter. Surrounded by the scent of pumpkin spice and the glow of autumn leaves, there was a familiar rhythm to their lives. Yet, deep within her heart, Emily felt the weariness that came from carrying the weight of responsibility alone. Her late father's words echoed in her mind: perseverance and integrity, Em. Hold on to those. Each year, the annual Harvest Gala was a significant highlight for the community, an occasion where laughter echoed among towering hay bales and the air thickened with the scent of homemade pies. This year, as the leaves danced and rustled above, Emily hesitated, feeling both eager and anxious as she prepared. When the clock struck, she led Timmy through the festive crowds, letting the cheerful energy wash over her. It was just another event to share with her son, or so she thought. Then it happened. In the bustling clamor, Emily collided with a stranger, her heart racing as she nearly stumbled. He caught her strong arms enveloping her petite frame, his eyes holding the deep allure of untold stories. Jake was dashing, an air of charm surrounding him. As they shared slices of pumpkin pie and swapped life stories, Emily felt a connection ignite between them, something she'd long thought absent from her busy days. But she couldn't ignore the growing whispers swirling around her. Echoes of judgment from townsfolk who questioned her motives mingled with the joy of Jake's company. What does she see in him, they mused. A wealthy man bound to life's luxuries might never understand our struggles. The protective wall around Emily's heart began to build, unsure if she should let him in or shut the door before anything started. Moments turned to hours, and as Timmy twirled among children dressed in costumes, Emily found herself instinctively jumping into Jake's arms, overcome by an odd mixture of warmth and vulnerability. It was a fleeting yet intimate moment that set local tongues wagging. They were dynamics of opposites. This working-class mother matched with a millionaire, and the judgment crashed over her like a wave, occluding the laughter and pie. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as she thought her newfound connection with Jake was slipping away, the gala transformed. Amid the laughter and flickering lights, Emily caught sight of Jake selflessly helping a struggling single father from the community. His kindness glimmered amidst the chatter, showcasing the sincerity that lay beneath his polished surface. At that moment, hope flickered anew in her chest. But could her community truly accept what blossomed between them? Was it too fragile for the harsh scrutiny they faced? Standing on the edge of vulnerability, she felt torn, wondering if all those dreams she clung to were still possible. As each heartbeat echoed in her ears, Emily realized this story was hardly over. Would Jake's next move prove his worth, or would the bitter judgment of society pull them apart forever? The answers loomed just beyond the horizon, inviting her to embrace the possibility of love with courage she never knew she had. As the Harvest Gala wound down, Emily found herself in a whirlwind of emotions. Laughter still echoed, but it felt distant. Around her, families wrapped up their celebrations, the festival lights twinkling like stars against the darkening sky, yet all she could focus on was Jake's warm presence beside her. Their moments shared under the glowing lights felt as surreal as a beautiful dream, but as reality pulled her back, the weight of their differences pressed heavily on her. Timmy, cheeks smudged with the remnants of pumpkin pie, danced by her side, giggling with innocent delight. She watched his joy, a stark contrast to the storm brewing in her heart. Did she dare let this man into their lives? The community's whispers echoed in her mind, leaden with judgment and skepticism. The last thing she wanted was for her son to face scrutiny for her choices. "Hey, want to take a walk?" Jake asked, breaking her reverie. He gestured toward a quieter path away from the crowd, and despite her racing thoughts, Something inside Emily pulled her to him like a magnet. She nodded. As they moved away from the revelry, the chill of the autumn air wrapped around them. Jake turned to her, his features softening under the moonlight. I've noticed how quick people are to judge. It's frustrating, he admitted, his voice low. Emily swallowed hard. I know how it is. They've been watching me struggle for years. She paused, inhaling the crisp air, searching for the right words. And now they see me with you. It's like they think I'm trying to climb some kind of social ladder. Well, you're not, are you? He asked gently, his eyes piercing her uncertainty. No, I'm really not, she whispered, the confession hanging in the air. But that doesn't matter to most of them. They think it's a fairy tale. Fairy tales can be real, Jake said, taking a step closer. You deserve happiness, Emily. More than you realize. She felt her cheeks warm with an unfamiliar blend of hope and fear. What if she let herself believe in this connection? What if it all blew up in her face? He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, his fingers brushing her skin, sending sparks through her. I don't care where you're from. I care about who you are, and who you're raising. His words sank deep into her heart, yet, just when the weight of her doubts began to lift, a voice pierced through the night air. There she is. The mom who thinks she's better than the rest of us now. A jesting shout came from a group lingering by their pickup truck. Emily's stomach twisted. Emily. One of the women called out, laughter bubbling among her friends. Aren't you worried he'll leave you for a real socialite? The laughter intensified, and Emily felt herself shrinking, narrowing under the weight of their gawking eyes. Jake glanced at her, concern etched on his face, then stepped forward protectively. What's the matter with you? He demanded, voice steady. Emily is amazing just as she is. But the damage was done. Emily felt utterly exposed. She took a deep breath, eyes searching for solace. I need to go, she said, her voice barely a whisper. With her heart pounding in her chest, she turned and began walking away, Timmy trailing behind, oblivious to the scene that just transpired. Behind her, she half expected Jake to follow, but doubts floated like ghosts in her mind. Did he understand the reality she faced every day? Just as she rounded the corner, she heard his footsteps quicken. Emily, wait. He called, urgency in his tone. Let us talk about this. What he was about to say was unknown, but the air felt thick with possibility, and for the first time in a long time, Emily felt a flicker of defiance. Was this love worth fighting for despite the impending storm? But would she have the courage to seize it, or would the whispers of the past drown out her hopes forever? Emily halted in her tracks, the weight of Jake's plea hitting her like a wave. She turned slowly, heart pounding, uncertainty twisting within her. Would he still see her as he had just moments before? Under the warm glow of the festival lights and in the midst of joyous laughter, everything had felt possible. But now, caught in the glare of judgment, that hope seemed fragile. Just give me a minute, okay? She said, her voice shaking slightly as she faced him. I need to process this. Jake stepped closer, his brow furrowed with concern. I get that, but don't run away. You and Timmy mean something to me. His eyes searched hers, earnest and piercing. I want you to know that. The sincerity in his voice softened the walls Emily had instinctively raised. But do you understand what it's like? The way they look at me? I've fought for so long to make a life for Timmy, and I can't have them think I'm playing with fire. Emily, he said softly, it doesn't matter what they think. What matters is what you feel. She hesitated, torn between the fear of letting him in and the longing for something more, something real. What if you get tired of me? Tired of this small life? I think I'm getting tired of this small town already, he joked lightly, but the warmth in his eyes conveyed more than that. He took a step forward until the distance between them disappeared. You're not small, Emily. You've got this incredible heart, and you're raising a beautiful boy. That's more than enough. Timmy played nearby, blissfully unaware of the turmoil swirling around them. He spun in circles, laughter echoing in the night, reminding Emily of the joy she'd always fought to keep alive for him. Her heart ached at the thought of sheltering him from the world while her own dreams crumbled under the weight of judgment. Could she really let someone into their lives? Jake reached for her hand, his grasp warm and steady. Just take a chance. If it blows up, fine. But if it doesn't, we could have something amazing. She glanced down at their intertwined fingers, feeling a flicker of hope fighting through the storm of her doubts. And what if you don't really want that? What if I'm just a storyline for you, a challenge to overcome? Emily, I'm serious. His voice dipped low, intense. I see you. Not just the community's struggles but the incredible woman you are. Questions linger, but the potential is there. It's you and Timmy who draw me in. With every word, he fed the flickering flame of courage inside her. But the fear of falling, of investing in something that could lead to heartbreak, held her back. A moment of silence enveloped them, the quiet whispers of startled onlookers echoing in her mind, dragging her back to reality. Why take the risk? She asked quietly, feeling tears prick at the corners of her eyes. The community's harshness, the loneliness she'd endured, struck her heart hard. What if this is just a moment? Jake leaned closer, his voice lowering to a soft murmur. Because moments make memories. And memories build lives. As she searched his eyes for some hidden agenda, all she saw was an invitation. An acceptance she hadn't known she craved. The flickering lights from the festival seemed to illuminate what was left unspoken, growing warmer in the stillness that surrounded them. Then, just as she felt herself letting go of some of her fears, a loud exclamation cut through the intimate space. Hey, look! It's the Pumpkin Queen and her Prince Charming. A voice hollered from the shadows, laughter rippling through the crowd. Emily's heart sank again, and she recoiled, overwhelmed. You see? It's never ending. But Jake stepped in firmly, eyes blazing with determination. This is not your story to tell. It's ours. The stir of voices began to fade as she clung to his hand, a clenched fist against the chaos. Timmy giggled at a passing float, oblivious to the undercurrents swirling just out of reach. Emily, please, Jake urged, grounding her with his presence. We've got a chance here whether you see it or not. And at that moment, a realization hit her. Perhaps the storm wouldn't just pass. It could be met with unwavering defiance. But would she take that leap? Would she dare to seize the incredible chance standing before her? With her heart racing, she finally met his gaze head-on, ready to make a choice that could change everything. Would she charge toward the unknown, or would she retreat into the shadows of small-town judgment? Before she could answer, the night felt alive with unreal possibilities, holding its breath for the answer yet to come. Emily took a deep breath, the festival lights shimmering like stars above her. The tension between her and Jake crackled in the air, electric and palpable. She could feel Timmy's laughter fading into the background as her focus sharpened solely on him. What if I can't do this? She whispered, her voice trembling slightly. What if I fail? Jake's grip tightened around her hand, warm and reassuring. You won. You're stronger than you think. Look at everything you've overcome for Timmy. You can take this leap too. Emily's gaze drifted to Timmy, who was now chasing a handful of confetti, catching it mid-air with the joy only a child could muster. His laughter wrapped around her like an embrace, grounding her in the present. She remembered the countless nights spent working late, the endless worry of making ends meet, and the unconditional love she had for that little boy. And here was Jake, offering her something more, something she'd pushed aside for so long. Mommy! Timmy called out, his face lighting up as a parade float rolled by, colorful and decorated with big, grin-inducing pumpkins. Look! Her heart swelled at the sight of him, blissfully innocent, unaware of the turmoil she faced just moments ago. I'm looking, baby. She called back, but her eyes were still locked with Jake's. So, what do you want? Jake asked, his voice steady but filled with curiosity. What do you really want? Emily's mind raced. She had spent so much time locked away in the confines of her own fears, building walls for protection. But maybe, just maybe, the chance Jake offered could be the key to unlocking a future she never dared to imagine. "I want to stop being afraid," she finally admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I want to be happy for Timmy." His eyes softened, and she could see understanding mirrored there. "Then let me show you what happiness can look like. Together." Just then, another voice cut through the moment. "Hey! You two lovebirds need a picture." One of their mutual friends shouted, moving closer with a camera in hand. The bright flash of a camera took her by surprise, and Emily squeezed Jake's hand a bit tighter. "Wait!" she called out before she could rethink it. "Take a picture of us." Jake's eyebrows shot up, a mixture of surprise and delight playing on his features. "Are you sure?" "Yeah," she nodded, feeling a sense of boldness swell within her. "I want to remember this moment." As they posed, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was a pivotal turning point. The picture would capture not just an image but a promise to herself, to Timmy, and to Jake. The camera clicked, and laughter erupted as they stood close, their smiles wide. Emily felt a warmth that spread through her as a few nearby onlookers began cheering, joining in the moment. It felt freeing, exhilarating, and for the first time, she felt less like a pariah and more like a person deserving of love and joy. When the impromptu photo session ended, Timmy tugged at her shirt. "Can we go on the ride now?" "Sure, buddy. Let us go." Emily replied, her heart lighter than it had been in years. Jake fell in step beside them, and as they made their way to the carousel, something inside her began to shift. She was stepping out from the shadows of her fears and into a world of possibilities. The sound of music swelled around them, and Emily could almost hear her heart beating in time with the rhythm, but just as they reached the carousel, a figure from the crowd caught her eye, a woman with an expression that screamed disapproval. Emily's heart raced again. The communal gaze was back, the whispers already starting. "Hey," Jake said softly, sensing her apprehension. "Ignore them. This is your moment." Would she let moments of judgment shatter her? Or would she embrace what was right in front of her, what she had always wanted? As the ride began to spin, she took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next. Because in that moment, surrounded by laughter and joy, Emily realized something monumental. She was ready to fight for her happiness. Before the song could fade away into the night, uncertainty whispered in her ear. Could she truly ignore the weight of small-town judgment? Or would that fear hold her back from truly embracing this new chapter of her life? As the carousel spun faster, Emily clenched her fists, the thrill coursing through her veins as everything she'd ever wanted hung in the delicate balance of a single choice. The carousel whirled around them, a blur of lights and music, but Emily felt anchored like never before. The wind whipped through her hair, turning her nervousness into a kind of exhilaration. She could see Timmy grinning across the way, his face lit up with pure delight as he spun atop a painted horse. The laughter rang in her ears, blending with the cheerful music of the ride. Jake was beside her, steadfast and calm. "Look at Timmy. He's having the time of his life," he shouted over the din, his eyes sparkling with joy. Emily nodded, absorbing the scene. Timmy was the star of this moment, and she was grateful that Jake shared it with them. Leaning closer to Jake, she allowed herself to bask in the warmth emanating from him, a form of courage she wasn't used to feeling. Then came the memories, creeping in like shadows. The whispers, the judgment. Every chance she had backed away from, every door she had left closed in fear. Would they always be lingering just outside her vision, reminding her of her doubts? But as the carousel spun, she felt the wind lift her worries, like a leaf carried away by a gentle breeze. She clenched her fists tighter, not out of fear, but determination. If she was going to embrace this happy moment, she had to confront her past. As the ride slowed to a stop, panic crept up again, fueled by the probing eyes in the crowd. But she watched as Timmy hopped off his horse, rushing toward them with an energy that was contagious. "Mommy, can we do it again?" His enthusiasm was infectious, and Emily found herself smiling despite the unease still swirling in her mind. "We can do a lot of things, buddy," she replied, ruffling his hair and looking to Jake. Right? Jake merely grinned, his eyes glimmering with an excitement that made her heart flutter. What else do you want to do? He asked, genuinely interested. Emily glanced back at Timmy. Ice cream? Face painting? The haunted house? She listed, her mind swirling with options. Haunted house. Timmy squeaked in delight that Emily's stomach flipped at the mention of the haunted house. It was notorious in town, with stories about those who dared to step inside a rite of passage of sorts. Her instinct was to shy away, but just as she opened her mouth to backtrack, Jake squeezed her hand. Let us do it, he said with a conviction that sent a spark through her. Really? She asked, trying to mask her surprise. Really? Besides, what's a little fear when you're facing it together? He replied, his gaze steady. Encouraged by his words, Emily nodded. Okay, let us go. As they walked towards the haunted house, she could feel the growing warmth of camaraderie between them. It was as if all the walls she had built were starting to crumble, piece by piece, revealing the real Emily beneath someone who wanted to feel joy, laughter, and even a little fright for fun. But as they approached the entrance, that ominous feeling returned, colder this time, as the mood shifted. A flicker of doubt entered her mind again, questioning if stepping into the darkness would really be worth it. Mommy, it's going to be fun. Timmy cheered beside her, his tiny hand clutching her tightly. As they stepped inside, the shadows enveloped them, and Emily's heart raced. The echoes of laughter faded, replaced by the eerie creaks and groans of the haunted house. Just remember, Jake whispered, leaning down toward her, I've got your back, no matter what. With every step forward, Emily felt the pull of uncertainty. Did she have the strength to confront what lay ahead, not just within the haunted maze but in her heart? The flickering lights and distant screams began to merge into her own worries. As the first set of shrieks echoed through the dark, Emily realized she was on the cusp of facing something monumental, not just the frights around the corner, but the fears that had held her captive for so long. Would she rise to meet this challenge in front of her? Or would she let her fears bind her again, leaving her just outside the joy she craved? With every heartbeat, she felt the choices cascading down like the fallen leaves around them. Would she choose love, happiness, and hope, or retreat back into the shadows that she had fought so hard to escape? Even as the darkness loomed closer, Emily knew she was ready for whatever lay ahead. The question was Jake ready to embrace the journey with her? The hallway twisted, a dark and narrow space lit only by the erratic strobe lights that seemed to pulse with the beats of Emily's racing heart. She could hear the faint whispers of what could only be an unsettling sort of breath behind them, quickened with anticipation. Timmy tugged on her hand, his nervousness bouncing back to her in waves, mixing with her own dread. Mommy, stay close, he said, his voice quivering slightly. I will, sweetie, Emily promised, squeezing his little hand. She glanced at Jake, who walked confidently beside her, blue eyes steady in the gloom. That unwavering gaze reminded her of the strength she wanted to find within. She began to breathe easier, a flicker of comfort amidst the fear. They turned a corner, and a figure gaunt and shrouded in cobwebs leapt out from the shadows. Timmy yelped, burying his face into Emily's side. Instinctively, she bent down, wrapping an arm around him as he trembled. Just a scary actor, buddy, she whispered, though her own heart hammered against her ribs. She could feel Jake's hand shift closer on her back, a silent reassurance grounding her. Keep moving, Jake urged softly, his voice a steady anchor against the chaos. Taking a deep breath, Emily stood tall once more. This was her moment. The past didn't have to dictate her today, and if Jake was right, if this was about facing fears together, then she wouldn't cower in the darkness. Not anymore. As they proceeded deeper into the haunted house, the sound of laughter echoed distantly, almost taunting. They passed through a room of flickering lights and tangled fabrics, each corner a new horror waiting to unveil itself. She caught a glimpse of a skeleton, swinging from the ceiling, before they stepped into a decrepit old parlor. The smell of dust and decay filled the air. Look at the ghost, Timmy squeaked, pointing at a flimsy figure getting ready behind a curtain. Jake chuckled lightly, but his eyes hadn't left Emily. You're doing great, he encouraged. Remember, fear is just a wave. Ride it. Ride it, Emily repeated quietly, feeling warmth spread from his words. If fear was a wave, then she would surf it. Suddenly, they emerged into a larger room filled with fog. The kind that billowed and curled at their feet, making things misty and ethereal. The shadows danced around them, but in the heart of it, a thrill ignited within her. An odd mixture of danger and excitement buzzed through her. Adrenaline was taking over. Mommy, I think I want to go back, Timmy whispered, uncertainty creeping back into his voice. Emily knelt again, meeting him where he stood. I know it feels scary, buddy, but if we keep going together, we'll get through this. She gazed into his eyes, a sparkle of determination shining through her own. You're my brave little guy, and that is what makes us a team. Timmy's expression softened, and he nodded. Okay, I'm brave. She stood up again, courage swelling. With every step forward, Emily felt like she was shedding layers of fear, leaving behind her old self. The past struggles, the shadows of doubt, wouldn't define her anymore. Just then, a loud crash echoed nearby, making Timmy jump again. The ground shook slightly, and they both instinctively turned to Jake for reassurance. He smiled, a playful glint in his eye. See? You guys are doing amazing. Just a little more. But before she could respond, Emily caught sight of something beyond Jake's shadow, figures painted and grotesque, clawing from the edges of the fog, gesturing towards them as the air turned heavy with an unnatural chill. Her feet were rooted to the spot, panic flooding her senses. What if this was too much? Don't worry, we're together, Jake repeated, stepping closer without hesitation. The sincerity in his voice ignited a flame inside her. She couldn't let fear control this moment. Clutching Timmy's hand tightly, she drew in a deep breath. They would face this together. In that instant, the room around them seemed to lighten, almost as if the darkness was retreating. Something shifted within Emily, as if she could finally confront not just the eerie sounds but the deep, haunting fears living inside her. With daring resolve, she smiled at both of them. Let us go see what's next. A door creaked open ahead, offering them a glimpse into another shadowy expanse. Would they face the unknown and emerge victorious? Would the bond they forged in moments of fear continue to hold them strong as they ventured further into the dark? The next step was theirs to take, together, but what awaited them just beyond that door sent another shiver down her spine, perhaps even more than what lay within this haunted house. As Emily pushed the door open, a gust of cold air rushed past them, swirling the fog into a swirling dance of shadows. The room beyond was vast and dim, adorned with ancient relics that seemed to whisper secrets from another time. It felt like stepping into a different world, one where anything could happen, and she found it oddly thrilling. Wow, Timmy murmured, eyes wide with a mix of wonder and fear. He squeezed her hand tighter, and she could feel his tiny heart racing against his chest. Stick with me, she said softly, kneeling down again to meet his gaze. It's just another part of the adventure. Jake turned slowly, taking in the surreal, eerie beauty of the room. Look at those portraits. They're massive, he exclaimed, motioning towards the grim and ghoulish figures painted on the walls. The faces were twisted in such expressions of fear and rage, it sent a shiver through Emily, but she kept her composure. Yeah, they're creepy, Timmy muttered, leaning into Emily's side, seeking comfort. With a smile, Emily lifted him slightly so he could see better. But they can't hurt us, right? Timmy nodded, beginning to find excitement in the unknown again. As they stepped further in, Emily noticed a flickering candle illuminating a small table at the room's center. Spread across the surface were tarot cards, their designs intricate and mysterious. The sight felt unnervingly inviting. Should we check it out? Jake suggested, curiosity sparkling in his eyes. Maybe it'll tell us our future, Timmy said, a small grin forming. What do you hope it tells you? Emily asked, her heart warming at their playful banter. Timmy thought for a moment. That we're going to be superheroes. Then we'd better find our capes. Jake chimed in, increasing the joyful energy in the room. Emily felt the warmth spread through her as they gathered around the table, the atmosphere shifting from fear to laughter. It was a reminder of why they were here, to bond, to face fears head-on, and feel a sense of closeness that replaced anxiety with adventure. Timmy picked up a card and turned it over, revealing the image of the Fool. "What does this one mean?" Jake laughed softly. "That might mean we're taking a leap into the unknown." "Let us leap then," Timmy declared, excitement bubbling up again. "Okay, but hold on tight." Emily laughed, pulling Timmy into her arms as Jake took her hand. Together, they moved forward, ready for whatever lay ahead. Suddenly, a distant rumble resonated, shaking the floor beneath them. It felt like the very foundation of this haunted house was coming alive. Shadows flickered deeper, and Emily gasped as her heart thudded loudly in her ears. The portraits seemed to shift, their painted eyes scrutinizing their every move. "This place is strange," she admitted, sensing a new layer of connection to the unknown. Chuckling nervously, Jake's grip tightened around her hand. "Just keep your focus on each other. We'll be okay." But as they stepped closer to another door at the far end, an unexpected noise erupted, a wailing cacophony that echoed through the room, coursing through her like ice. It brought with it a sense of urgency, a reminder that the adventure was far from over. "Maybe we should head back?" Timmy whispered, a flicker of fear returning to his voice. Emily looked down at him, feeling the weight of his fear match her own. This was a moment they hadn't anticipated, a moment that tested not just their bravery, but the love and trust they had built so far. "Should we go back?" she asked, replicating his uncertainty. Timmy looked between her and Jake, who bore a resolute expression despite the chaos swirling around them. "No. I want to keep going." With her breath hitching in her throat, Emily made her decision. "Then we'll keep going. Together." They edged toward the next door, legs trembling but hearts aligned. Just as they reached the threshold, another chilling gust swept through, and the door swung open on its own, revealing what lay beyond, a vivid swirl of colors and noises that felt like a dream. What would it show them? What new emotions would surface in that next moment? Taking a steadying breath, Emily stepped forward, her heart racing with anticipation. The air buzzed with electric tension, hinting at the mysteries wrapped just on the other side. Would they uncover more about themselves or each other as they ventured into this vibrant unknown? As they crossed the threshold, the room morphed into a riot of colors. Brilliant reds, deep blues, and sparkling golds flooded their senses, a stark contrast to the dusty gloom of the previous room. Lively music resonated in the air, swirling around them like an unseen dance partner. Emily felt herself smile, the lightness of it offering a strange comfort. "Where are we?" Timmy whispered, eyes darting around in awe. "I think we just entered a new world," Jake replied, grinning widely. "An exciting one." With a nervous yet adventurous heart, Emily moved further inside. The walls were adorned with bright murals depicting scenes of joy and laughter, contrasting sharply with the haunting portraits they had just left behind. It was like walking into a dream, where anything seemed possible. "Look!" Timmy pointed at a group of people, dressed in dazzling costumes, laughing and dancing. Their joy was infectious, and Emily felt her fears begin to melt away. "Can we go see them?" "Of course. Let us go." Jake cheered, pulling Timmy along. As they approached the lively scene, the air thickened with excitement. A young woman in a glittering gown approached them, her smile radiant. "Welcome to the Festival of Wonders," she exclaimed, her voice bright and welcoming. "Join us. There's magic everywhere." Emily exchanged glances with Jake and Timmy, both boys sparkling with anticipation. The music pulsed through her, igniting a spark of hope. They could be a part of this wonder. "Let us dance," Timmy shouted, taking Emily's hand and leading her into the center of the gathering. They joined the rhythm, swaying in harmony with the costumes that whirled around them. Emily felt free, her spirit lifted by laughter and warmth. After a few hesitant shuffles, they settled into the groove. With each twirl and laugh, she could feel the joy swelling in her chest. Maybe they really were superheroes, at least for this moment. The music faded as they lost themselves in the experience. But suddenly, the celebration's vibrant energy shifted. A shadow fell over the scene, pulling Emily's gaze up to see dark clouds rolling in from nowhere. The brightness dimmed, sorrow creeping back into their world. She glanced at Timmy, whose face had fallen, the joy retreating like a tide. "Is everything okay?" he asked, bit of fear returning to his voice. Before she could respond, the music faltered, and the people around them began to look worried. The festive atmosphere shattered, like glass falling to the ground. "Everyone, gather. We need to bring the light back." The woman from earlier shouted urgently, her charming demeanor replaced by worry. Emily's heart raced. It felt like the darkness was an enemy they were called to face together. This was no longer just an adventure, it felt like a mission. "Timmy, remember how brave you were before?" she said, crouching down to meet his worried gaze. "We can help. We're superheroes after all." Timmy nodded slowly, joining hands with Jake, who placed an arm around Emily. They may not have had capes, but they had each other, and that was their strength. As they moved closer to the gathering of worried festival goers, something inside Emily shifted, a determination ignited in her soul. They'd faced the shadows before and emerged stronger. "Let us do this," she declared, holding their hands tighter. Together. Unbeknownst to them, the moment they stepped closer to the now trembling crowd, she felt the weight of something monumental shift, a secret waiting to unfold. What would it take to bring back the light? Would they uncover hidden strengths within themselves that they had never known? The murmur of uncertainty lingered in the air, thick with suspense as they prepared to face the unknown once more. The answer was just within reach. Emily took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of her friend's hands in hers. The air around them crackled with tension, a clear contrast to the festival's earlier joy. She could see the worry etched on the faces of those around them. What could be done to restore the sparkle of the festival? "Okay, everyone," the woman in the gown shouted, her voice ringing out. "We need to harness the light from within us. It's there, I promise." Emily watched as the crowd began to gather in a circle, their faces reflecting fear and doubt. Yet, within the chaos, glimmers of hope sparked in their eyes. She turned to Jake and Timmy, their expressions a blend of resolve and uncertainty. "I think she's right," Jake said softly, squeezing Emily's hand. "We have to find that light inside us. We can do it together." Timmy nodded earnestly. "We've faced dark things before, haven't we? We can fight this, just the way we always do." He was right. They weren't just a trio caught in an odd adventure, they were a team, and teams found strength in one another. "Let us show them what we can do," Emily rallied. They closed their eyes, drawing from the joy they felt when they danced moments before. Suddenly, vivid memories flooded her mind, laughing with Timmy over ice cream cones, playing superheroes in their backyard with Jake, and the love of family wrapping them up like a warm blanket. "On the count of 3, we'll all shout our happiest memories," Emily suggested, excitement bubbling within her. She could feel the bond between them growing stronger. "It's about sharing our joy." Nervous energy rippled through the group, but soon, other voices joined theirs. The festival-goers shared memories, laughter spilling out once more. 1, 2, 3. They shouted together, their voices reverberating through the growing darkness. But still, the clouds loomed overhead, heavy and oppressive. They needed more. "Think of something that made you feel alive," Jake shouted, his voice full of courage. "Something that lights you up." "I remember the first time I rode my bike without training wheels," Timmy piped up, face lit with passion. The ground shook slightly as more people began to share, the collective joy igniting sparks in their hearts. Colorful lights began to flicker around them, bursting to life like fireworks. Emily felt a rush of energy, like currents of electricity were flowing through her veins. Just then, the woman in the gown stepped forward, holding a small lantern that flickered gently. "Everybody, focus. Fuel the lantern with your memories of joy," she yelled, lifting the lantern high. "It's a symbol of our light. We have to make it shine. Together." Timmy, Emily, and Jake closed their eyes again, imagining the brilliant light illuminating their world. "Let it shine," Timmy cried, and as they did, memories poured from their hearts, swirling like a vibrant storm around them, filling the room with warmth and color. As the lantern brightened, Emily felt a surge of pride as laughter erupted around her. But then, an intense flash of light shot outwards, a burst of pure energy. Suddenly, shadows recoiled, revealing paths long hidden beneath the darkness. "Look!" Emily gasped, her voice rising in excitement. "Something's happening." The darkness began to peel away, revealing hidden wonders they had never seen before, breathtaking landscapes filled with playful animals, shimmering lakes, and flowers that danced with the wind. Yet, even as joy existed again, a new question ignited in Emily's heart. What lay behind those hidden paths? Was there more to this world than they yet realized? A sense of adventure bloomed anew as excitement filled the air. "Come on!" Jake shouted, looking toward the light-filled corridors. "Let us explore." With hope swelling thick in her chest, Emily felt the magnetic pull of the unknown, beckoning her forward. Would they find camaraderie on this new journey? The festival may have returned, but an even deeper mystery awaited them beyond. As the vibrant light enveloped Emily, Jake, and Timmy, the world around them transformed into a spectacle of glimmering colors and joyous sounds. The fears that had just moments ago cast shadows over their hearts felt distant now. Life erupted anew, each pulse of brightness pushing away the remnants of doubt that had kept Emily from seizing happiness. Hand in hand, they stepped forward through the radiant pathways, their bond stronger than ever. Laughter rang through the air, a beautiful melody interwoven with the rustle of leaves and the chirping of birds. Emily watched Timmy leap with enthusiasm, his earlier fears dissolved into the excitement of uncharted territory. "Mommy! Look at that!" Timmy pointed at a bright, oversized flower that seemed to sway to the rhythm of the music. The petals glimmered, casting colorful shadows on the ground. Emily bent down to examine it, a grin breaking across her face as she marveled at the wonder of it all. "Isn't it amazing?" she said, her heart swelling with joy. This was how life was meant to be, filled with awe, adventure, and love. Jake joined them, an amused smirk on his face. "What do you think, Em? Should we take part in this flower dance?" "Are you kidding?" "Absolutely." Timmy squealed, pulling his hand away as he raced toward the flower, twirling around it with abandon. Watching her son bask in pure joy ignited an undeniable warmth in Emily. Here was a real moment where love and happiness outshone the judgment of the world outside. She looked back at Jake, his eyes glistening with affection and excitement. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Jake stepped closer, brushing his fingers against hers. "It's not just me, it's you, too. You had to take that leap." Tears pricked at the corners of Emily's eyes. It had been such a long time since she felt this alive, this free. "For so long, I thought those whispers would drown me. But I see now they don't define us. We do." A collective cheer erupted among the gathering, and Emily felt exhilarated. People began to join them, each face glowing with purpose and anticipation. They were no longer alone in the shadows of doubt. Together, they were stepping into the light. "Let us dance," someone shouted, and soon, everyone was moving in rhythm to the enchanted music that filled the air. Timmy grabbed Emily's hand, pulling her next to Jake, and they twirled together amidst a sea of laughter. The dark clouds that once loomed over them had been replaced by a kaleidoscope of colors, wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. With Timmy spinning and laughing, Emily felt an overwhelming sense of peace. She had taken the brave plunge, and it had planted her firmly in a place of acceptance and love. As the song peeled away the last layers of doubt, the energy in the space shifted into something stronger, powerful and radiant. "Let us make a promise," Jake suggested, breathless from laughter. "A promise to embrace every moment, no matter what gets thrown our way." "Yes," Timmy agreed, his eyes sparkling with youthful glee. "We can be superheroes." Together, Emily affirmed, her heart evidenced in every word. The warmth of their hands joined felt electric, grounding her in that very moment. Together. Timmy echoed, and Emily knew that they had truly formed something beautiful, unbreakable, and endless. The festival surged with euphoria, not just for the bright colors and sounds, but the bond they had created, three hearts beating as one, riding the wave of joy without fear. In that vibrant space, in that moment of collective joy, they found something special, a home. As the festival carried on, Emily stole a glance at Jake and Timmy, both elated and glowing under the canopy of humanity, and she realized that this was her family, strong, united, and absolutely beautiful. And for the first time in years, she felt fully alive. Facing whatever came next felt like a thrilling adventure, a tale unfurling in every shared laugh and warm embrace. Now was the time to savor love, laughter, and memories wrapped in acceptance and the unwavering bond they had forged. This was it. Their journey together had just begun, brighter than she had ever dreamed. If you've loved this journey with Emily, Jake, and Timmy, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to miss out on future stories filled with love, laughter, and transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help share these incredible tales. And comment your reactions and feelings about this life-changing ending. Lastly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans know the importance of supporting and spreading these stories. Let us keep the love alive.